let's talk about water-resistant, chew-proof floating long leads for your dogs. I am a big fan of having long leads for your dogs, especially when you are going out swimming, when you're going to the ocean or a river or wherever, because you want to make sure your dog has space to run and to play without reaching the end of the leash. I've told you in many of these episodes that I started off with a 20-foot lead, and that was just too short for my dog to play on the beach. And so I have upgraded to 50-foot leashes, and my goodness, they are amazing for space. But we do need to talk about the good and the bad. And so I've done lots of reviews on these long leads, the biothane leads, the chew-proof leads, lots of them. You can check them out in our Leashes and Harnesses playlist here on the channel. I'll link it in the caption. This particular one, I started out with a 20-foot lead and I took it to the beach. I loved it. It was fantastic because it was easy to clean. It doesn't really take on a lot of that smell from the icky things that it's going to be dragged through or in the water as you're playing, but it was kind of short for the 20-foot lead. So I bought the 50-foot lead and I took it to the pond when I took my girls swimming for the first time. So it really does come down to what you're looking for, what's going to best fit you. And like I said, I've got lots of reviews on lots of these different types of things that you can check here on the channel to find the best fit for you. This one was really nice because it did have a comfort handle at the end. So it has like a little plastic piece on it that you can grab a hold of, and it is going to be much easier on your hands than trying to pull on that nylon. Now, one of my biggest complaints about these long leads, and that's everyone across the board, is that they don't have traffic handles. So you've got a 20-foot lead, a 50-foot lead, and only one handle. So if you do have to rein them in, you're going to have to grab onto the leash, and that can be a little bit hard. So I would love to put a call out right now for these people who are making these long leads to add some handles, baby. Please, for the sake of our hands, add some handles. But that withstanding, because none of them have it, so it's a huge complaint on this specific one. You do have a lot that you can work with here. So I've got the 20-foot and I've got the 50-foot lead. They do have sizes in between, and they do have these in different colors, which is really nice. I got the black for my dogs because I figured that would look best in the photos, but you do have to take into consideration if you are getting a dark color lead, it will probably blend in with the water, which is great for content creation, not so great for safety or for knowing where these leads are. Especially with something like the pond, it would just kind of go into the water and then you just have it floating around in the water somewhere. Speaking of floating, this one was designed to float on the water. I will say it does an okay job of floating on the water. It's not great. I kind of expected the entire thing to float above the water so I could very easily see it. On the shorter ones, it is going to float a little bit better. On the longer leads, especially if they get bunched up at all, if it gets tangled at all, it will kind of clump up and go lower in the water. It's not going to sink to the bottom. It will kind of hover under the surface, but it is one that you might have to, scoop up a little bit if you're going. So I took the 50-foot leads to the pond, which is great when they took off and went swimming. But if they were just kind of swimming right near me, we'd then just have this mass of leash just kind of hovering around us. Now, this one is designed to float so that it doesn't get tangled on your dog's legs. I would say part of it does float above the surface so you're not getting tangled. Part of it is kind of like halfway hovering in the water. Your dog can get tangled. You can get tangled. So you just have to be mindful of it, which might play into what color you want to get. Certain colors will show up better in water. The black just kind of blends in, especially if it's a darker bottom of that. It might show up better in like a pool, but it's definitely going to blend into the ocean, to a river or a lake or a pond. Things that have that darker floor are going to blend in a little bit more. And again, the appropriate length for where you're going to be going can impact how it's going to float or not. This is also chew resistant, which is really nice. So if your dog is one that's going to sit there and chew on it, it's going to have a level of chew resistance. Of course, if you have like a really big dog that's a really heavy chewer, I'm sure it can do some damage. My dogs have not heard it. I've also not really given my dogs the opportunity to sit there and chew on it. So this is not something that I would necessarily like hook my dog to and just let him lay out in the grass for an hour with. I use this when we swim. I use this when we play. I use this when we run. So this is when we are active and we're not just sitting there with it. If we're driving in the car, they're not clipped in with a leash. They're clipped in with their harnesses and with their seatbelts. So they're not going to be chewing on this. So just, be smart about this, but they do have a guarantee on their Amazon page. If it gets damaged or destroyed within a certain amount of time, they'll replace it for you. So just be mindful of that when you grab it. Speaking of which, this is linked down below with my affiliate link. I do get a kickback from the company. So Amazon has to give me a cut of their profit and it doesn't come out of your pocket. So if you want to stick it to Amazon, this is the way. it also is a bit reflective. So it's got some reflective stripping on it or stitching into it so that if you're in the dark and you shine a light on it, it is going to be a little bit more reflective. It is really nice, again, because the handle is coated in that plastic. So it's very easy for you to use, very simple for you to grip, and it's not going to hurt your hands when you're pulling on the end of it. But it's a very long lead. You're probably not going to be doing too much pulling on it, but it also has space for you to clip it to like a D-ring and attach it to a hands-free leash or something like that. So there's lots of ways to work with this, but there's no D-ring up at the top. You can just kind of clip it onto the end of the handle, which will work perfectly fine depending on how you're going to be doing this or how you're going to potentially be needing this. The end is really good. It feels very secure. I don't worry about anything happening with this. I will say I had the leash with my girls and one of them went to move and the D-ring ripped off of the life jacket, but nothing happened to the leash. It's not like she was pulling very hard, so the life jacket was the issue, not the leash, but it feels very secure, very steady, and it does not feel like it's going to rip off at any point. So I very much like these. I will be getting these in different colors, I think. I'm going to invest in some different colors with this. Right now I have the black 20 and the black 50, but there are color options. And I'm kind of getting into this whole like, let's be matchy. Let's do all the fun, like match your harness, match my outfit, match all of us together, dog mom type thing. So I'm probably going to start grabbing some more of those. I will say, I got the 20-foot lead, and then when I went back to get the 50-foot lead after my beach vacation, they had sold out, and I didn't think they were coming back, but they did come back. And so I actually went and bought other long leads, which are great. I've done reviews on them, all of those things. But then when I saw they were back in stock, I grabbed them in the longer amount because, again, it floats, it reflects, it's chew proof, all of those things, and that to me is really good, and it's a very good quality. I very much like it. I like working with these ones, so I'm going to continue to buy from here. I have these linked down below. And like I said, I've got reviews on a bunch of these different things, whether you're going to the beach or to the ocean, or that's the same thing, beach or the ocean or the rivers or the different types of water, or if you're going to be playing in the park and you just want your dog on a long lead, or you're going to use a long lead for training, or you're going to use a long lead out in your yard that's not fenced in. These are great options for you, and there's great harnesses and there's great all sorts of things down in our leashes and harness playlist. Let me know which ones I should try next so that you can get my opinion for me and my dogs, so that you can decide if it's going to be a good fit for you and your dogs. It can be from Amazon, it can be from other places. I love trying these things out, so let me know what I should be looking at next to help you out, and we'll see you in our daily videos helping you navigate the world of being a dog parent to help you level up for your pup to give them the best life possible. We'll see you tomorrow.